Zani. This is my sous chef Khulani. We're your chefs for the day and we'll be cooking South African food. We'll be making pap, Boerwors Stew, cream spinach, and Chakalaka Beans, which is all a very good mix of flavors, different textures and colors, and it's just gonna be amazing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're gonna start with the pap, with the porridge, because it's a little bit tricky and we're slightly inexperienced with it, but we're gonna give it the best shot we can. And so what we do first is we pour some boiling water into the pot, and we pour maize meal in after it, and we mix the maize meal in and hope that it just like mixes really well with the water, and so it makes a nice porridgey mix. Okay, let's go. So we're going to put we're gonna have, was it 2 cups of water?
1.
We're gonna do 1 cup of water to 2 cups of maize meal.
Add a bit of salt to taste.
Yeah. So this is basically what the maize meal looks like. And we gonna, do 2 cups of that. So that it doesn't clump up too much. You want to try to mix it as thoroughly as possible.
So you turn the heat down and you just let it cook on low heat for about 40 minutes. After this point, you just keep it covered. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Okay, right. So while the porridge is cooking, we're going to start to chop some tomatoes and onions for the Boerwors stew, which is going to basically just consist of onions, tomatoes. It's going to be the Boerwors itself, and some spices, some salt, just to give it that extra flavor, but it's going to be really good. Okay, I don't like chopping onions. Like, it's my least favorite thing to do in the world is to chop an onion, but you know what? Some things just have to be done. It's so big! Sorry.
Okay, so I'm chopping up 3 tomatoes. They're gonna be small diced pieces, really. Yeah. We're gonna have them with the onion in the Boerwors stew. There's no real technique to doing it. It's a matter of preference, really. However you like your tomatoes, how big or how small you'd like them to be. They kind of get broken up while it's cooking here.
Yeah, it varies. With Boerwors stew, a lot of people do it differently. The whole point is basically just to get tomatoes and onions in there with the Boerwors, because it really gives it that flavor. That like traditional trademark flavor. It's used in lots of barbecues and what we call them braais. Lots of like family get-togethers and stuff. And it really just depends on whoever's cooking it. You can have the onions and the tomatoes as big or like tiny as you want. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're going to pop a spoon of coconut oil. You can use any kind of oil. I just like to cook with coconut oil. Into this pan. And so once we've done that, we'll pop the onions and the tomatoes in there just to fry them, get them to saute a bit before we pop the Boerwors in there. Okay, great. So while that's going, we're going to get the meat in there. Basically, this is Boerwors. It's a South African delicacy. It's basically just minced beef in just rolled into like a long sausage. Okay, so this is basically, it can be cooked in any way. You can roast it in the oven. You can grill it on a barbecue. We like to use them for those occasions, especially like back home we like to have barbecues. We call them braais, and we basically just pop this on a grill and we make like hot dog like style meals from them. We can have them in rolls, and those are called Boerwors rolls. Or we have them with pap the way we're doing it now. And basically they'll usually just cut them into larger pieces so that everyone gets like one sizable amount. But what we're going to do, because we're making a stew, is we're going to chop them into little bits so that it's distributed kind of evenly in the stew, and it just releases a lot more flavor that way. Okay, so now that that's all chopped, we're going to pop it in here. Ooh, no. Okay, so then we're going to add some spices. I like to add a little bit of a mild curry because I just like, it gives it a little bit of extra, it gives it a bit of an extra zing. I'm not going to add too much for anyone that has issues with spicy food. And then I like to add some paprika and pepper. The trick with this really is not to add too many spices, because the Boerwors already just has a really nice natural flavor of its own with the tomato and the onions. It just makes a really nice mix, so you don't really have to add anything, but I like to add anyway. Definitely always add a little bit of salt to this. This is really, it just like takes the flavor home. It really makes it taste good. Okay, so while the Boerwors stew is cooking, what we're going to do is I'm going to chop some mushrooms for the creamy spinach. Basically, it's just going to be spinach, mushrooms, cheese, and a bit of cream just to get it really nice and saucy. And while I do that,
I'm going to be making the chakalaka, which is just a mix of that and some beans. You just put it in the pot together at the same time and let it warm up for about 10 minutes. Just preference, you don't really need to add anything else if you want it that way, and that will be ready.
It all cooks really quickly. It takes about 20 minutes tops to get all of it done. And I like to add cheese and cream just to make it extra creamy. So I like to have like a mountain of mushrooms because they shrink really small, and I love mushrooms. So this all looks like it looks like it might be a bit too much right now, but it all works out great in the end. So what we're gonna do now basically is we're going to start sauteing these mushrooms first. I'm gonna pop a teaspoon of coconut oil again into here. I start with the mushrooms because they take a little bit longer to cook than the spinach does, so I let the mushrooms fry on their own for a while. Okay, so now that the mushrooms have done a little bit of frying, I've sauteed them a little bit, what we're going to do is we're going to pop some baby spinach in there. But it all shrinks up and becomes like less than half the size of what it is now. Okay, so now that that's shrunk a little bit, we're gonna add some cream. There's no real unit of measurement here. You kind of just add as much as you want, however creamy you want it to be. I don't like to overdo it, and I like to add it a little bit at a time just so that I can manage it. So I start off with that much, and I mix it in, and I basically just play it by ear. If I feel like it's creamy enough, then I leave it, and I add some cheese, which I will do just now. Okay, so now I'm gonna pop in some cheese. This is just mozzarella. I like it because it's not too strong. Cheese, I don't really like cheddar to cook with. I like it in sandwiches and stuff, but I feel like it's easier to cook with mozzarella. It's not as strong, it's not overbearing, so it kind of cooperates with the flavors of whatever else you're cooking. And it's just really soft and it melts gloriously, like really easily. It just mixes really well with anything. When it's cooked, I just turn it off because it doesn't really need to simmer. I think if you leave it to simmer too much, it shrinks the spinach to like a really ridiculous size and it just like overcooks it and it's not great anymore. Okay, so once that's done, the spinach is done, everything is cooked, we're ready to serve. I'm gonna actually just pour all of it in here, I think it might all fit. Great. So that's the side. And for our main, we have the porridge, which we're just going to pop into this plate. But basically, this is usually the main staple of the meal. So everyone will have mostly pap and then have sides around it because it's like the main starch of the meal. Okay, guys.
Oh my god.
Let's dig in. Yes. So this is for this is a classic. So this is for vegetarians.
Oh,
So that would be really. Take some more.
really nice.
Yeah, it's tomatoes and onions. Just like sliced.
Oh my gosh, that is really nice. Yeah, the bean. That's so nice.
There's no one else. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you try this at home. It tastes really good, I guarantee it. You can just order the stuff online. The boss and the stuff that you wouldn't find otherwise is available online and it tastes really good. Thanks for watching. Make sure you follow us on social media. #FusedFoodFridays. Bye.
That will be fine.
I get so nervous that it's gonna be like dry. Should we just the creamy mushroom sauce?
And
Wait, stop. It's not creamy mushroom sauce. Sorry. Can we do that again? Hi, my name is Zani, and welcome to Fuse Food. It just rolled into like a long sausage, and what we do with that, it can be cooked in many different ways. A lot of people like to use them as.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I found that so funny.